Cowtown. Ingalls hole-shotting first moto. Palatelli inside takes the lead. Big crash in that first moto. Oh my goodness, that one had to hurt. Motocrosses are tough. Palatelli takes the first win. Ingalls doubles up on the hole shot. Freezy takes the lead late, but Palatelli goes out. Freezy takes the win and gets the overall. Things are getting tight as we go to Regina. Welcome to Moto Valley Raceway in round 4 of the 2014 Rockstar Energy Drink Motocross Nationals. Mark Travers and Brian Coster in the booth. And of course, all of today's racing will be brought to you by the fine people at Motovan, Canada's source for power sports parts and accessories. Brian, we have an extremely moist Regina here today. It has been raining cats and dogs.
There's been flooding in the region the whole week leading up to this event. Blessed with sunny skies today, but the track, the pits, the facility, somewhat of a disaster.
Starting out this morning, they canceled first practice. We only went to a shortened qualifying. Riders now coming out of staging. Of course, in qualifying times, let's get to our top 10 as they sit after 3 of 10 rounds. Benoit, Freezy, Moffenbauer, Ingalls, and Wentland, your top 5. It's tight up there.
Yeah, definitely. You gotta like Jerry Medallia getting used to the new bike, chipping away. Dylan Schmoke, RTR KTM, young Dylan Wright showed so well last year, and of course Kyle Swanson. We both cheer for him.
Couple of neat little details coming out with the riders getting ready for those mud races. Foam on top of the helmets, foam around the engine parts, and of course tape on the wheels to keep the mud out. But look at this start gate. Normally the dirt start, rider friendly, but not today. It's soppy.
Well, this is probably one of the drier parts of the track right here is behind the gate. Ahead of the gate, it's a soupy mess. They've been tilling, trying to plow and push the slop off to the side, and look what we're dealing with here. This is true grit motocross survival. No one really likes these conditions. No one likes to practice in these conditions. You save this stuff for race day. It's taxing on the equipment, and man, just getting through this stuff without tipping over is a feat in itself.
Okay, riders doing the best they can with their gate fabs, getting ready to drop the gate for the first MX2 Moto. Oh my goodness, it is a slop fest. Buckle up, it's gonna be a good one. Welcome back to Regina's Moto Valley Raceway in round 4 of the 2014 Rockstar Energy Drink Motocross Nationals. The lovely Rockstar Lauren bringing that 30 board out as Jessica brings Moto 1 board across. Brian, this first MX2 Moto will be brought to you by RoyalDistributing.com, Canada's power sports leader. We talked about the conditions off the top. Wow, this one is gonna be very dynamic from start to finish. Remember, race fans, hit that CMRC MX Facebook page, like us, mxnationals.ca, get caught up, watch prior rounds. Let's just get right into this thing. It's gonna be a mud bath.
Well, before long, we're not gonna recognize many of these riders because it is pretty soupy out there. Start is gonna be key. All the riders know that. Qualifying very difficult this morning. Here's our 2 fastest guys. They only did 1 lap to establish their qualifying lap, equated to about a lap and 3/4 because they had to go around the track once, establish a time, and pull off.
And normally the outside gate pick, which Moffenbauer has, would not be the gate pick of choice as the gate goes down. Brian, coming to that first corner, they're only going to use this straightaway once, and it's a bit of a slop fest. Checking down the line, they modified the start to sweep them around the corner. Royal Distributing hole shot goes to the number 22 Rockstar Yamaha of Sean Moffenbauer, the local boy.
And Medallia right there on the number 4 Kawasaki. Boy, did those guys hook up. Now, they picked that start primarily because there was better traction leaving the gate, plus a nice gradual arc into the turn. In these muddy conditions, you don't want to turn sharp or even brake too much because you can slide out so easily.
Great start for the number 38 Redemption Racing, 2-stroke of Seth Rarick. He's been actually getting into that top 5 mix lately, Brian. I've been liking a big man on the motorcycle. Maybe that's a good thing today.
Seth's been suffering from arm pump in practice and training. He's A-OK. Race conditions, the mental aspect, trying so hard, hanging on tight. He's been battling the arm pump. That's why we've seen him fade a bit towards the end of the moto. A good start here in the mud. Seth's a tall rider with those long legs as outriggers may help him in these muddy conditions today.
Dylan right on the pipe through that Doug DeHaan sweeper, gets into 4th place past the number 17. That's the FXR Racing Kyle Swanson, and I thought I saw the number 719 of Vince Freeze So we got some players up here. There's Politelli checking back as they head back, and Benoit. Okay, so the players are in the mix right now.
Holy cow, it's incredible how the cream always rises no matter the conditions.
Whoa.
Oh, Benoit getting creative, trying to get through this. Some of the sections not so bad. There's a decent line forming, and right there we just saw Politelli pass Freezy for 6 drafts. Good stuff for the California kid.
And a dynamite line for Politelli. He actually went inside. Freezy had the high line. You'd think the inside line would be the worst choice today, but they're coming into this back section here. This section is actually quite rideable, Brian. Let's see if they can get some speed up. I'm noticing a lot of the riders are actually jumping, you know, the doubles and whatnot, so they're actually getting aggressive out there.
Yeah, the riders that have some space and are not dealing with too much roost can really kind of get in there. When they see the rider in front of them do those jumps, it really gives them the incentive to say, hey, if he's doing it, I can do it too. Up here in the high spots, the Blair Morgan corner, we just saw heavily modified now for this year. But along the edges, you see the riders just searching for dry spots. Now, perhaps one of the worst parts of the track is right after the finish line, and it just becomes a soupy mess. And there's Jeremy getting creative. He's bouncing this way and that, just trying to stay forward. Seth Rarick, Redemption Racing, holding court in third. Pretty darn good for him.
We saw Politelli make a pass on Swanson up in the Blair Morgan corner, so he seems to be like one of the riders that's on the gas. Freezy off the track. Benoit through the middle. This part of the track that we're seeing on the left part of the splitter, very difficult. One of the Allison brothers that looks like Jared coming through. Dylan Schmoke. So right now there's a big freight train, Brian, and I think it's damage control at this point of the race.
With conditions like this, the officials are a lot more lenient with the track markers. It's so hard to get around, and it's like survival. So when guys kind of drift out into the grass, they're going to turn a little bit of a blind eye today, as long as, you know, one rider doesn't keep cutting the track.
The number 26 privateer, Michael De Silva, back about 20th right now, Brian, but it looks like he's found some lines and making some passes as we get up to Politelli, who has gotten by the number 34 of Dylan Wright. That puts Politelli in 4th place. Boy, he is finding traction. A California rider hard pack seems to like the mud today.
It's incredible from Politelli. We saw Dylan Wright on the 34 MX101 Yamaha just struggling big time. Now he gets a bit of a drive on Politelli, so it's real tit for tat. That section, one of the worst on the track as well, leading into these big ski jumps. And it's just such a shame because this track has been prepped so well. The stage was set for an epic day. Now we've just kind of got this full survival type of race unfolding. Entertaining nonetheless.
Well, this is the first time we've been back to Regina since 2008, Brian, and you're right, there was a lot of hype surrounding this round. Yeah. We had the Rockstar Moto Fest with the bands coming in tonight. We had a dynamite track, the people in town were talking about it, and then the heavens opened up, and we're dealing with this lot. A great crowd still out here today. Very impressed with the moto fans out here in Regina.
Yeah, very hardcore, and yes, this event created a lot of buzz to be back in the prairies, and this valley here, this track is spectacular. We've seen awesome racing in the past. There's man-made rollers here and there. This had all the ingredients to be the best national of the year, and here we're kind of struggling a bit with Mother Nature.
Let's talk about the number 34 of Dylan Wright, MX101 Yamaha, sitting in 5th place. Very impressed with him so far this season. He's been one of the rookies that we've been watching that's been in that top 10, and he's had some lead speed.
It's awesome. This Ontario rider, he grew up in the same town as Medallia. Oh, and more passing up in the Blair Morgan corner.
That's Freezy up on the inside of Benoit. So Benoit looks like he's falling back a little bit. Freezy using areas of the track where he can get traction to make passes and find speed.
Freezy going really well out here when he gets on that dry line. He made a couple errors earlier, but now he's catching up in on Swanson, and that section just dreadful.
Back to our leader, the number 2 Rockstar Yamaha. This is Sean Moffenbauer. We talked about this being his home track. He's got a lot of laps out here. I know he expected to come in and win today on this track. He looks good right now, but Medallia, known for his mud skills, the number 4 Monster Kawasaki, that's Jeremy Medallia, spectacular.
Give it up for Jeremy right now, because though he's just out of the roost zone, he does catch up into the roost zone, so he's eaten a lot of the roosts coming out of the 22. Of course, Moffenbauer is the crowd favorite, being here from Saskatchewan, as we see Politelli in 4th, and now it's right down, gives it up. That looks like Swanson and Freezy squeezing by.
That's right, Freezy, Swanson, and Benoit get by with Dylan Schmoke coming through the rollers. This is the first MX2 Moto here from the Moto Valley Raceway in Regina as we get back to the number 16 of Jared Allison. The Allison brothers only making a couple of these Western swings back in school. We are gonna go to a quick break and we're gonna get back to this full diaper here in Regina. This is the 2014 Rockstar Energy Drink Motocross Nationals. Welcome back to Moto Valley Raceway in Regina. This is the first MX2 Moto 2014 Rockstar Energy Drink Motocross Nationals. Mark Travers and Brian Coster in the booth. This portion of racing will be brought to you by Max Convenience Store as we see our leader in this first MX2 Moto, the number 22 Rockstar Yamaha of Sean Moffenbauer. But I tell you what, Monster Energy's number 4 Medallia in hot pursuit.
Well, the Rockstar bike of Moffenbauer is jumping almost everything out here now. So is Jeremy, but Sean is just getting that little extra foot or two. So really smooth. We got big troubles back in the pack with Allison and Wetland.
Wetland and Ingalls having some issues as we see the 24 of Kevin Benoit on that Royal Distributing bike crash right into our drift lock-off. Unbelievable how sloppy and slick the conditions are. And Benoit was actually getting lapped out there for crying out loud. So he had some issues as we get back to the 22, our leader, Sean Moffenbauer. Boy, going pretty quick actually out on this track. To the number 400, Jared Petruska from Calgary, just soldiering through down in the valleys. Some of those parts are the wettest parts of the track.
Big issues there, just trying to keep it straight. Petruska has been a top 10 finisher this year, so it's been a great year for him. Now we've got trouble with lap traffic, and it looks like Moffenbauer has pulled out a few more bike lengths on Medallia here as we approach about the midpoint of this moto.
Well, getting into the meat of this moto, Brian, that's the problem. You get a lot of riders, as you can see them in the background, stuck in the middle of the track. And if you've got a lot of flow going and one of those riders is in your way, as you see riders off the track, Bobby Canary giving his teammate a little bit of help and suggestion, saying, go wide. Moffenbauer loses the front end, Brian, and Medallia gets by and takes the lead. Oh, tough break for Moffenbauer. He had things going on.
Wow, I thought he had pulled it out a little bit, but no, Jeremy was right there pressuring, and that little increase from Bobby K, a little too much throttle there and a little lapse of concentration, low slides, and he's mired down with a bunch of these other poor suckers littered around this racetrack.
Perhaps the battle for third is heating up. Paul Telly going inside through the DeHaan corner. Rarick hanging on, looking for traction on the outside. Riders all over the place. Paul Telly into third. Wow.
You know, he's a big, strong kid, showing why he's got that #1 plate, showing his resolve. A lot of these U.S. and California-type beach boys can't handle these conditions. Back to Moffenbauer, gets the increase from Bobby K and just loses the front end there, packs up, and bam! The number 4. First time he's actually led a moto this year.
Dylan Schmoke now on the gas through those little rollers in front of the Rockstar trailers in that front section. Schmoke right now is sitting in the top 5, Brian, so another great run for him. He's actually been showing some good speed out west as well.
Yeah, big time. Another tall kid, so showing his strength. Riders littered everywhere. These muddy conditions, especially the 250Fs, it's a real tuner's game, and under the load of this mud, the mechanics really get to ply their trade out here to keep these things moving. Freezy's struggling in 6th right now. You talked about earlier the foam that they put underneath the engines, anti-stick spray all over the bike so the mud falls off. Freezy now just doing the best he can, soldiering around, yellow flags everywhere. And you know, if you tip over in this stuff, you won't believe how hard it is to pick your bike back up. The controls get covered in mud. Your bike weighs an extra 50 pounds in mud right now. So my advice to anybody in these conditions, even the top pros, is just stay upright. Keep moving. Don't tip over, because everyone else is going to fall down. Just keep your game upright and try to keep moving. And at the end, you'll be on the box.
Well, we saw Freezy get rid of his goggles too, Brian, and I think in these conditions that's very difficult, but the goggles become a problem early. Condensation, mud, to our leader, number 4, Medallia, starting to open it up on the number 22 of Sean Moffenbauer in 2nd place as they go through that little roller section, taking high lines, augers out. Damage control is vital in a race like this, Brian, because if you go down, as you talked about, you could get passed by 20 guys, and there's a lot of points available in this type of a moto. So you really gotta get a consistent finish. To our 3rd place bike right now, Monster Energy's Austin Paultelli. He's a champion. He knows how to ride, Brian.
Man, he's really impressing me today. He's made quite a few passes here. He's just keeping it upright, not really cutting the track as much as some of the other riders, and they're getting away with it. Benoit!
No!
In the back, he's done ski. He's just watching some points drift away at the moment as Parker Allison on the Blackfoot Yamaha there from nearby Alberta motors on down the valley.
That was the number 21, as you said, Parker Allison in 13th place, so he's starting to find some lines. Kevin Benoit leading this series, Brian, now off the track with a DNF. That really makes things interesting in the MX2 class. The Sean Moffenbauer in second place through the Blair Morgan corner. I really like the way they've opened that corner up. It used to be kind of tight, but I like it now.
It's sweet, it's dry. There's parts falling off all over the place out on the racetrack. Jeremy Medaglia in the lead right now, loving life, but you can bet he's praying for the white flag, if not the checkers.
Interesting right there, Brian. Medaglia just lapped Vince Friese. These two have got something going on. They don't like each other. Obviously, Medaglia was supposed to be on that Moto Concepts team. Last minute, Friese comes in, Medaglia's out, and they've had some altercations on the track, so that's interesting, especially with the way the points are going right now. Things are tightening up. To Austin Politelli in third place, getting his last lap flag. That means Medaglia's on his final approach.
Oh, he'll be happy about that. We saw Jeremy just have a bit of a moment there. So easy to fall down in these conditions. His mechanic, Pat O'Connor, is a 250 specialist. It takes a special mechanic to work on these finicky, more volatile motors. Pat is going to be stoked. You know, the mechanics right now, they're all just sitting there with their fingers crossed, praying their bike makes it across the line. Wetland, he's down a lap. Lucky for him, he can get over the flag. He doesn't have to do a whole nother lap.
That's right, tuck in behind Medaglia, finish a lap down, but you never know where you're going to finish in points.
It's starting to smoke now.
It is.
Right now, the last half a lap, smoke pouring out. Now, these bikes overheat. They get so packed with mud. The radiator is just completely packed. The whole engine is packed with mud, and these things overheat, especially with pro riders ringing them out like Medaglia. Oh, we got guys down on the last lap.
Weston Regina down on that little inside Scott corner. We talked about how heavy those bikes are, Brian, caked with mud, an extra 50 to 75 pounds. Regina can't even lift the bike for crying out loud.
These are strong young athletes, man, and they're struggling. And when you go down like that, your heart rate spikes. Okay, so everything all of a sudden starts to get out of control. You're hot, you're just rushing out. You got to get back on. You just think, start this thing up. Bikes are super hard to start. It's even hard to get your shifter and brake working with all this clumped mud.
And yet we see our leaders doing obstacles on this track, which it seems impossible down through the valley. Medaglia really in control right now, riding super fast. To Politelli down into the valley. We talked about where the water was gathering down in the bottom of those valleys. Some really slick parts down there. Medaglia looks good in the lead though, Brian, and this is going to be great for his confidence because he hasn't had a great start to this MX2 series. He was a title contender coming in.
Oh man, you make so many good points there. This is huge for Jeremy, and for these riders to jump these obstacles in on the last lap really shows their resolve and just how strong and fit and what fine young riders they are. Jeremy Medaglia takes the win. Boy, oh boy, you can't buy this kind of confidence unless, of course, you got MasterCard.
Nice job, guys. Medaglia with the win. Moffenbauer in second. We'll be right back with the podium.
Welcome back to Moto Valley Raceway, just minutes outside of Regina. Great crowd, the beautiful Rockstar girls, and of course Goldie with lots of free swag on the stage. Great crowd here to our Yamaha leaderboard. We know our top three. Rarick hangs in there. Schmoke and Allison soldier through as the Swanson. Dylan Wright, despite his difficulties. Wetland and Ingalls a lap down, 9:10.
First MX2 Moto here from Moto Valley Raceway in Regina, and we had a mudder. Jeremy Medaglia soldiering through, taking the win. Jeremy, fantastic for you. You proved your mud talent. Boy, you really hung out there to get that win.
Yeah, it was all about that good start. I got an awesome start. Bike was working great, and I did my best just to keep it up. And, you know, Moffenbauer made a mistake in front of me, and I got by him and then just cruised to the finish.
It's amazing sometimes during a mud race where you have to minimize damages, don't you, when you're out there?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a couple spots that are way worse than others, and, you know, you get to those spots, you got to make sure, you know, you play the lappers right, you play your lines right, everything's got to be done the right way, and then, yeah, just count those laps down.
You're back in the championship, Jeremy. That's a huge thing for you. I know that's going to do a lot for your confidence. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I needed this. You know, my team, my family, my friends, everyone's been behind me trying to get my spirits up. I've had a rough couple weeks, but that's a good way to start this weekend.
Good luck in the second motor.
Thank you.
It was a battle of attrition for the number one, Austin Politelli, third place, first MX2 Moto here from Moto Valley Raceway. Austin, how the heck did you make the podium in that? It was mayhem out there.
Yeah, I don't know. I got a terrible start. I had to least been like 20th or further back, and just tried to push it those first few laps and get up front. I didn't really know where I was until I think the last 2 laps, and I saw third on the pit board. So I'm happy with that. I just need to keep getting points. Have a little bit of bad luck this year, but I'm happy with that.
Back on the box, the number 22, Sean Moffin by a Rockstar Yamaha. You had the lead there for a little while, Sean, and then had some issues, but still made the podium. Congratulations.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. I mean, the whole Rockstar Yamaha team, we got up to a great start. Dunlops were hooking up, and we were able to get out front and stay out of that mud, out of the roost. And, we did good up to halfway there. Made a couple mistakes. The track was changing quite a bit, but all in all, I'm pumped for the second place, and hopefully we can go out and win the second race.
They always say in motocross that a second in the first moto is as good as a win, because if you get the first in the next moto, you can get the overall. But points right now are valuable. Benoit had an issue in that moto, Sean.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I saw Freeze and I saw Benoit out there, so I just wanted to play it safe and make sure I got the the most amount of points I could with finishing that moto. So I'm pumped, and hopefully we can get that second win.
Congratulations, Sean.
Thank you.
Heading down southbound. It's been too long. It's time to get along. Let's cut up and know the way back down from here. Kept these feet up on the ground. I'm nearly drowned. Heading out southern bound. I'm nearly drowned. I'm southern bound.
Oh, that's Southern Bound with Punishment and Rockstar Moto Fest. Everybody here at the Moto Valley Raceway having a good time. But right now we are in limbo, Brian. A decision needs to be made about whether we're going to run that second MX2 Moto. Fans are waiting patiently. The track crew is out working on the track, and our CMRC official, Sir Paul Kingsley, and the Grand Popa, Mark Salibras, going out to actually assess the track. But I think there's some concerns about whether the back section's rideable and maybe some safety concerns, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, Dig's been out on the dozer, pushing off the slot, trying to make it as best he can, but I think the biggest problem is accessing a downed rider. If we get a guy out in the back 40 that's down and off the bike, it's going to be really hard to get the medics out there. And look, head referee Paul Kingsley can barely stand around. There's a bit of a powwow. The riders, team managers getting involved. Some riders want to ride, some don't. Travs is standing by. What the dealio?
A frustrating end to our day here at the Moto Valley Raceway in Regina. Unfortunately, the second MX2 Moto will be canceled. I'm here with head referee Paul Kingsley. Paul, can you give us the details on your decision?
It's all to do with track safety and rider safety. As you can see, the track is in really rough shape. We've spent more than an hour trying to make it passable, but it's just not working. We also can't get the medics back where we need them, and it's not safe for the riders. So based on that, we're going to have to call the race.
A difficult decision because there was a lot of riders out there that wanted to ride that second moto. Points are crucial in this series. So let's talk about how you're going to point this race.
It just goes to a single moto format. There's only 25 points for a win today rather than the normal 50. They take those points that they got, and we move along to go for Dooms in 3 weeks.
Thanks a lot, Paul.
No problem.
What a crying shame here at Moto Valley Regina. Benoit with his DNF still has a points lead. Look at Moffenbauer and Freezy tied, Politelli, Wetland tied, Wright and Swanson tied. It's toit, MX2. Despite Mother Nature, a good time had by all. Race fans, don't forget to like the CMRC MX page on Facebook and go to mxnationals.ca.
Nice job, Fabs. Thank you for watching the 2014 Rockstar Energy Drink Motocross Nationals. Brought to you by Motovan.com, Canada's source for power sports parts and accessories. I want to thank the track crew at the Regina Moto Valley Raceway for all of their hard work under some difficult circumstances. We'll see you at the dunes.